Welcome, viewers and listeners around the world. In today's edition, I have the privilege of interviewing a personal hero of mine, a renowned scholar in Arabic literature and language, also well versed in Islamic history and Islamic affairs, and also, of course, the media. Hailing from Upper Egypt, based in London with an illustrious career in both media and academia, including long stints at institutions such as the BBC, NBC, AUC, the Egyptian State Broadcasting Service, and McGill University. May I present Dr. Muhammad Amin Tofi, who actually also happens to be my father. Hello, Dad.
Hello, son. Have a good day, and it is great that we are talking to each other today in such a beautiful dialogue. And I hope this will be something to the pleasure of our audience.
Thank you very much. So actually today we're not talking about your career in journalism or academia, so to speak, but rather a creative project that you've been working on several years now, and something which has been in the making for a while. So I'm intrigued. Please tell us a bit more about your project.
Yes, it is about Abdelwahab. This is a series of 30 episodes. Muhammad Abdelwahab, as you know, is a great composer and singer, not only of Egypt, but of the whole Arab world. And he is a well-known, like international personality because his records are well-known even in Paris, where all his copyrights are being preserved. And of course, whoever wants, for example, to have any recording or something of that sort, he has to go back to Paris in order that he would get a permission for Abdelwahab's, pieces. Now, going back to your good question about the this series, as a matter of fact, I started it in the year 2009, and now it is almost over 11 years since I started it, and luckily I was able to finish it because 30 television episodes, like when you write a scenario, as you know, and this is something which I'm teaching to my students at the university, you have to have lots of resources in front of you. You have to go back to the historical background of the personality. You have also to create lots of good, themes in order that you would be pleasing your audience. It is not just merely writing, let us say, a story. No, it is rather, having all the muscles you have ready in order to entertain your audience. And that would mean that each episode would end with a thriller. And this thriller must be something, that the audience will be saying, oh, what will be happening then next? Or what is this sort of ending? We hope that something, good will happen in the next one. Or sometimes they will say, oh, that is something interesting. And that will keep your audience all the time, attached to whatever you are doing. So as, I told you, that took me almost 11 years to finish, but luckily now it is already there, and I have already, we lost the, now this one here, you could see, and it is almost in such a voluminous, I would say, book, and it will be ready, for example, for any company that will be needing, to produce it. And of course, I mean, Abdelwahab is a great, personality. And this is not merely a biography. As I said, it is a dramatic sort of biography. And because Abdelwahab's life has gone through lots of dramatic scenes, which I am pleased to bring up to our audience. And that's what I am trying to do.
Okay. Yeah. So what was your inspiration for choosing Abdelwahab? I mean, of course, he is well known, particularly in the Arab world and Egypt.
Yes, of course.
More about him and about the period he represented and what that meant to you and your inspiration for documenting and dramatizing.
Yeah. What inspired me really to do this was an event, a great event which took place under my own, supervision. Back in 1988, the Arab community in the UK decided that they should really do some sort of honoring to Abdul Wahab himself. Abdul Wahab, as you know, was really given, like honor by the state when the late President Abdul Nasser, actually gave him the highest, let's say, honor in Egypt, he himself and Kulthum. And then but of course, Kulthum, there was a very good, actually, screening of her life in one of the, I would say, series. But Abdul Wahab, unfortunately, has never got one, and maybe that's one of the motives why I thought of him. But going back to what I was saying, to that great event in 1988, when he came there, of course, I had never met him before. But within 1 week, believe it or not, he became a great friend of mine. And he used every morning to call me home, saying to whoever would answer the phone, is my friend Mohammed Tawfiq there? Then I would come, I would rush to the phone and say, Ahlan Ustad Abdul Wahab. And that is meaning welcoming him. And he was very friendly and very humble. You wouldn't believe it. And then he would say to me, are we ready for today's recordings and this and that? I would tell him yes. What happened is that after the ceremony, which was like in the Great Hall here, musical hall in the UK, in London, we had to do him like, a tape. And that tape would include the whole ceremony. And of course, that was about 2 hours long. Why? Because all the singers, who knew Abdul Wahab was teaching them. He was the one who brought them up, and musically and so on. They were all, trying to please him during that great night of honor for him. And therefore, all these songs of Abdul Wahab, they were sung by those disciples of him, if I may say the word. I mean, they were the pupils of Abdul Wahab. And he was very pleased with that event, and he himself used to come with me to the studio, and we would both of us stand behind the late Muhammad Salim, the Mukhrij, or the director. And Muhammad Salim would be trying to put the pieces together, of that ceremony, which was screened by the BBC, by the way. You see what an honor that a BBC, let us say, recording team would record that event. And it was, yes, of course. And at that time, of course, we were all, helping Muhammad Salim to do the right, recording, and to do the right editing, I would say. And that is show you how it started with a friendship. And during that week, I thought really deeply about the time when I will be able to write a scenario about the complete life of Abdul Wahab, which now I'm very happy to say to you that it took place.
Great.
Yeah.
And I can imagine, given his numerous talents as an actor, well, but first and foremost, a composer, a songwriter, and a singer. I can imagine, and particularly, of course, the time during his career as well, the transitions in Egypt. I can imagine you have ample material that you've developed over the last 30 episodes. So could you give us a synopsis of what to expect with respect to what you've put together about Abdul Wahab's life?
Yes, I would say that what you would expect when you watch that one, you will start with Abdul Wahab when he was 12 years old, and I will start with a dramatic scene, really, and that was when Abdul Wahab fell ill at the time, and his father had to rush him to the doctor, and his dear mother was all the time invoking Allah to keep, Abdul Wahab for her, because, of course, he was very dear to her. And that was the beginning. But then after that, of course, I ushered many personalities that were having an effect on Abdul Wahab's life, that like Ahmed Shawqi, the great poet of Egypt. And Ahmed Shawqi, as a matter of fact, was not only the prince of, poets, as he was called at the time, Amir Shu'ara, but he was also the one who ushered Abdul Wahab to the palaces of that time. Let us not forget that that time King Fuad was there on the scene, and Ahmed Shawqi used to go to the prince's palaces, and with him he would take Abdul Wahab, and Abdul Wahab would at certain times will be invited to sing and to do lovely things, and then he would contribute to their dialogue, and he would be participating in that dialogue. So throughout these dialogues, Abdul Wahab was brought up. Abdul Wahab knew through these meetings many others, great names like Taha Hussein. He was his intimate friend. Abbas al-Aqad, he was also his intimate friend. He knew many great, let us say, producers of cinema like Muhammad Karim. Muhammad Karim, as a matter of fact, was the producer of 5 of his great films. One of them is Ghazal al-Banat. Ghazal al-Banat, when he was there, and that was starring himself and many others, you have already seen some of these scenes. You got Layla Murad, and Layla Murad was really very elegant and very forthcoming in that sort of film. I would say that this is the kind of thing you would expect. But then after that, of course, you would see the heroic part of Abdul Wahab, how he himself was very loyal to his country, to Egypt, and how he contributed to the welfare of Egypt. When we were attacked by the tripartite aggression, back in the 1950s, Abdul Wahab was on the forefront. Abdul Wahab, actually, he was the one who even opened up the broadcasting service of Egypt back in 1934. Even in 1934, Abdul Wahab was with Kulthum together, because they were the duetto. They were together, the openers of that one, and they, of course, contributed by singing, and Abdul Wahab, of course, through his compositions of music. And then after that, of course, you could see that how Abdul Wahab was a part and parcel of the dialogues that was going on between the palace on one side and the public on the other, between the palace and the culture people, the intellectuals, and how he was, for example, being honored by even the universities at the time. Ahmed Lutfi Said, he was the one of the great men of learning. He himself was an intimate friend of Abdul Wahab. So all these dialogues you will see and you will hear in such a series, and you could see there is no limit of the suspense there on this series. I'm not doing this. I'm not saying this because I am the writer, but really this is happening because the life of Abdul Wahab itself was very thrilling, and it got lots of things, especially with his when he got married, of course, not only once but 3 times, of course, and that is, of course, something which everybody will be interested in knowing about. Yes.
It sounds very intriguing and rich and full of lots of research, of course, and I can imagine you spent a lot of time in cultivating and curating this as well. So, of course, you have a great story, but then it's everything you've put together, and it's how you tell the story.
Yeah.
So, of course, now you have the script. I guess the question is, how do we make this script a reality? How do we bring this wonderful story to more viewers and to more listeners around the world?
Yeah, I thank you for this very important question. Actually, it is very crucial because of the fact that now we have come to the stage when everything has come to a complete full stop. Why I'm saying this? Of course, I took this, this series to the main important production in Egypt. That is Madinatul Intaj al-I'lami, the city of media production. And there I met the first man there, and he himself was happy with my series. And now, by the way, he has even got a ministerial job in Egypt, which I am very honored about. And he is a very good and candid man. And he told me frankly that it was at the time when I presented this to him for production. He told me I am very happy about it, and he even gave it to one of his aides in order that he would look into ways of production. But I got the response after that that there was no fund really that will be sufficient for such a huge series. This series, of course, might need something in the volume of no less than, I would say, something that would be needing millions of Egyptian pounds. And that, of course, would require an entrepreneur or a company of production which will be able enough to produce. And that is the stage we have reached at. But Abdelwahab is as a great treasure of Egypt, and there is no money that will be really sufficient even to produce his life. I mean, we should really give all the monies we can have and we can muster in order that his life will be shown to audiences, TV audiences. And you could say that the budget that I would estimate for such a huge production would be no less than $20 million. Why I'm saying this? Because, of course, nowadays, the actors and actresses are having rocket-sized, salaries and fees and this and that. And I could see that there are no less than 200 roles in this series. And these 200 roles of kids, each actor and actress has to be paid, and we paid handsomely. And if I am really very optimist about it, then I would say maybe our state would be having a role in producing that one, because this is Abdelwahab is not my property and your property as a singer and a great composer, and he is not only somebody, a great personality, but also he would be something honoring our state itself. Our state itself, Abdelwahab has already contributed to its build-up, and he contributed a lot for the army and for the people, all of them. And I do remember that when, of course, I presented his, contribution throughout the series, I found that in no event Abdelwahab was not there. In every event he was there. For example, a tripartite aggression, Abdelwahab was there. One of the songs he made, for example, was, that he was زود جيش أوطانك, meaning that give the army, perhaps contribute to the welfare of the army, because the army is protecting all of us. And arm your army, let us say, if I may say the translation itself. And that, for example, is just one episode of his life. But there are many others. I mean, there were, of course, the whenever he produced the, like the great song, it was with about 5 or 6, I think, of the other actresses and singers, and they were all in one group, and they made a great composition. And it was great also at the time to celebrate the victory when Egypt emerged victorious in 1973. And Abdelwahab never stopped, hailing the Egypt and making lots of efforts. His compositions, you must yourself have heard, and even your kids, about these compositions like Aziza, like, Al-Mamalik, like all of these, if I may translate and Mamalik, meaning even the Mamluks, because even he was happy with the history of Egypt. And if you listen to any of these compositions, you will realize what effort Abdul Wahab has put into these great compositions. And he himself has been very well known because of this. I mean, in his music, you would feel that there is something international in them. It is not only Egyptian music, it is not only Arabic music, but there is also, something international in them, because Abdul Wahab used to be a very good listener to Beethoven, to Tchaikovsky, to other people who were there, to other musicians, great musicians. And of course, this might have left an effect on them. So whoever is a listener to Abdul Wahab, or one who would be watching his great films, he would realize, for example, Abdul Wahab was able to introduce some of the instruments, new instruments, not only oud. Oud, of course, is something Arab, but there are other ones, he introduced, and these were originating in the West. And that, of course, would say to you the magnitude of his contribution to both the music and to singing in the Arab world.
So I think the message is to prospective supporters. Of course, this is a commercial venture, but equally, this is about the preservation and celebration of a national icon and preservation of cultural heritage. So I think it's very compelling from both perspectives. Okay, fantastic. All right, well, I think that's a very helpful summary. And I guess I thought it would be remiss of me, given your command of the Arabic language and given that you anticipate doing a lot of this in Arabic and probably producing the show in Arabic. So how about providing a brief summary in Arabic for us? I think that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I will just be with you in a minute, if you don't mind. Hold on. The thing is that your question is very valid and it is very nice. I would put it in Arabic. Of course, Arabic, I have great command of Arabic language. عبد الوهاب ليس فقط ابن مصر، وإنما هو ابن العالم العربي، وهو شخصية عالمية، لأنه معروف في بقاع شتى من العالم، من بينها باريس ومن بينها لندن ومن بينها جهات أخرى. ينبغي علينا أن نعتني بذكرى عبد الوهاب، وبأي مسلسل يمكن أن يكون من أجل أن يسجل تاريخه المشرف في خدمة البلاد. عبد الوهاب استطاع خلال سنوات عمره المديدة، لأنه بدأ حياته، يعني أو ولد عبد الوهاب في سنة 1901 وعمر يعني حوالي 90 سنة. ففي من هذا الوقت المديد هناك يمكن حوالي أكثر من يمكن 70 سنة في خدمة الفن، لأن عبد الوهاب بدأ الغناء صغيرا وتتلمذ على يد سيد درويش، واستطاع أن يناطح بفنه العظيم، استطاع أن يناطح السنباطي وآخرين حتى كانوا من قبله في الساحة، واستطاع أنه حتى يستدر إعجاب ست الغناء أو سيدة الغناء العربي أم كلثوم، وأتحفها ب يعني تحف جميلة، من بينها مثلا أنت عمري، التي كانت هي يعني حتى بالنسبة لأم كلثوم كانت هذه نقلة كبيرة في حياتها أيضا. عبد الوهاب له فضل كبير على مغنين كثر، من بينهم عبد الحليم حافظ الذي كان بمثابة الابن لعبد الوهاب، وكان صديقين إلى حد أن عبد الوهاب دعاه إلى أن يكون شريكا له في صوت الفن، الشركة التي قام بتأسيسها. وكان هناك يعني عبد الوهاب كان محط الإعجاب من كل أنحاء العالم العربي، ولا ننسى كيف أنه دعي إلى بقاع كثيرة. الملك الحسن الثاني رحمه الله ملك المغرب دعاه إلى بلاده وحل ضيفا عليه في أكثر من مناسبة. هناك الملك الأردني راحل أيضا الملك حسين. هناك أيضا حتى عندما وصل من المملكة العربية السعودية الملك سعود بن عبد العزيز، عبد الوهاب أنشده يعني قصيدة وغنى له احتفالا بذلك، وكان في ذلك الوقت معه ملك البلاد مصر يعني كان حاضرا. عبد الوهاب لم يترك مناسبة من مناسبات الوطنية إلا وشدى فيها. عبد الوهاب كان من الذين افتتحوا الإذاعة المصرية سنة 1934 هو وأم كلثوم، ومنذ ذلك الوقت أتحف هذه الإذاعة بكثير من المقطوعات الموسيقية الجميلة، زينة، المماليك، بنت البلد، كل هذه الأشياء. طبعا قلت لك من قبل المماليك هذه حتى كانت تسجل كيف كان حال المماليك في ذلك الوقت محمد علي باشا، وغيره من الأمور التي يمكن أن يستمع إليها الإنسان ويجد فيها يعني كثير من الإمتاع. هناك أشياء أود أن أقول لك عنها، وهي أنه عبد الوهاب يستحق أن أكتب عنه هذا المسلسل الطويل الذي يصلح للبث في رمضان والذي يقع في 30 حلقة. لكن هذا الجهد كما قلت يستدعي أن تبادر إليه يعني إحدى شركات الإنتاج الكبرى حتى يمكن أن تستوعبه. هو الحمد لله حاز بموافقة من مدينة الإنتاج الإعلامي ومن مخرجيها الكبار، ولكن العقبة تكمن دائما في التمويل. ولكن أنا أعتقد لا تمويل يمكن أن يكون يعني شيء بالنسبة لعطاء عبد الوهاب. عبد الوهاب كما قلت أنت باللغة الإنجليزية هو يعني بالنسبة لمصر الذخيرة، وبالنسبة للعالم العربي هو ذخر، وبالنسبة ل يعني هذا ميراث فني كبير لا ينبغي أن يندثر. ولذلك فإن هذا المسلسل ليس فقط عبارة عن تسجيل لحياة عبد الوهاب، وإنما هو تسجيل لمرحلة تاريخية لا تهم مصر وحدها أيضا، ولكن أيضا للعالم العربي. أنا عندما كتبت عنه كتبت كيف كانت الزيارات هذه في العالم العربي، وكيف كان حال عبد الوهاب عندما يزور بيروت، وعندما يزور دمشق، وعندما كان يزور الدار البيضاء والرباط، وعندما كان يزور الكويت، وعندما كان يزور السعودية، وعندما كان يزور الأردن، عندما كان يزور العراق. وحكيت كيف كان حاله مع يعني ملوك وزعماء معظم هذه البلدان. كمان كيف كان عبد الوهاب محل الإطراء عليه من أهل مصر نفسهم، لأنه كان دائما في المقدمة، وهو الذي ربى أجيالا كبيرة، وكان يدرس أيضا في معهد الموسيقى العربية، وله الفضل في ذلك، وله هناك متحف طبعا الآن اسم عبد الوهاب. فلا أقل من أن نكرمه في مسلسل من 30 حلقة. هذا المسلسل سوف يظل يذاع على الأجيال القادمة اعترافا بفضله. ولذلك أنا أشكرك على هذه الحلقة الممتعة التي أمتعتني بها أيضا، ونمتع بها إخوتنا المشاهدين وأخواتنا المشاهدات، لأنه لابد من أن نحن نزيح الغطاء عن هذا التاريخ الجميل لعبد الوهاب. عبد الوهاب على فكرة أيضا في حياته كانت كما قلت باللغة الإنجليزية دراماتيك ايفنتس، يعني كانت هناك لحظات درامية كبيرة في حياته، منها لحظات زيجاته الثلاث. كيف كانت زيجاته الثلاث دي مشروحة في المسلسل. كيف كان مثلا الملك السابق كان يغار منه، كيف كان الملك السابق يغار منه، هذه موجودة أيضا. كيف كان حاله مثلا مع القيادات الموجودة مع الزعماء، عبد الناصر، السادات، كل هؤلاء الناس تعاملوا مع عبد الوهاب. هل تعلم أن نشرة الأخبار التي تسمعها في 2:30 كل يوم من الإذاعة المصرية ومن البرنامج العام، هذه عبد الوهاب هو مؤلف هذه الموسيقى؟ هذه لو سألتني لقلت لك إنها كانت عبارة عن مقدمة نشيد كنت في صمتك مرة التي كتبها كامل الشناوي. ولذلك لكن عبد الوهاب عملها فأعجبت كثيرا المسؤولين في الإذاعة المصرية، وارتضوا أن تكون هذه هي بداية نشرة الأخبار. أكيد أنت تسمع أو تعرف هذا اللحن، وأنت تحس فيه بالحركة، وبأنه كأنك أنت تسمع في أشياء جميلة ومتسارعة، والسرعة هذه بتعكس الأخبار المتسارعة والمتلاحقة. فعندما تسمع لحن عبد الوهاب يأتي إلى ذهنك أنك سوف تستمع إلى أخبار متلاحقة وأخبار لا متناهية. هذا هو الشيء الذي جذبني إلى كتابة هذا المسلسل الطويل عن عبد الوهاب، وأتمنى أن يرى النور قريبا حتى يمكن لمشاهدينا أن يشاهدوه في رمضان من الرمضانات القادمة إن شاء الله، وأن ييسر له المنتجين الذين لا يبخلون عليه بالعطاء. وللعلم عندما يضع أي ممول مثلا مبلغا لهذا الإنتاج سوف يرد له أضعافا مضاعفة. لماذا؟ لأن هذا المسلسل عندما يباع سوف يباع إلى أكثر من ربما 15 بلدا عربيا. فهذه البلاد عندما تشتري سوف تغطي تكاليف الإنتاج ويبقى الربح كبيرا جدا. فإن شاء الله نحن نتمنى أن يجد هذا المسلسل طريقه إلى النور قريبا إن شاء الله.
وأنا أتمنى أيضا. شكرا لك دكتور توفيق. شكرا.
لا العفو، شكرا لك يا أبو.
It's a very good summary, very helpful, and I think it's intriguing for all listeners.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Great.
and I'm glad that you got also a beautiful Arabic, and maybe in one of your interviews you will run it in your beautiful Arabic language, which we all cherish and we all are pleased to talk with, inshallah.
Well, I was lucky enough to learn it from you, so
thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm going to stop now the recording. Thank you.
You're more welcome. Thank you.